Do you remember Gravedale High?
Take a seat, yeah, we're dying to meet ya. Go with the spirit and chillin' and cheer it.
Long before the days of Monster High, there was a short-lived animated series from Hanna-Barbera that ran from September of 1990 to December of 1990, and it was called Gravedale High. The show is about a human high school teacher, voiced by Rick Moranis, teaching at a high school for monsters. We'll look at the reasons why this show may not have lasted more than one season, and stay tuned to see which character was voiced by Ricky Lake. Alright, let's look at the monsters. First is the vampire Vinny Stoker, who was voiced by Roger Rose. When Vinny snapped his fingers, he could make bat wings appear. Next is Doozer. She's a Valley Girl Gorgon, and her response to anyone that annoys her is, "Get a life." She's voiced by Kimmy Robertson. Next is this small version of Frankenstein with an attitude problem. He's called Frankentyke. He was voiced by Frank Welker. Frank is a well-known voiceover artist, and he's famous for voicing Scooby-Doo. Next is Blanche, a zombie Southern belle who loves to shop, making her a literal mall zombie. Blanche was voiced by Sherry Belafonte. Now my favorite character is Cleo. Her full name is Cleopatra. Cleo is a nerdy mummy, and she's voiced by Ricky Lake. We have Gil Waterman, a teenage lagoon creature with a surfer dude personality. He was voiced by Jackie Earle Haley. You may be thinking, wow, he looks really familiar. Well, you'd be right, because in the 1970s, he appeared in the movie The Bad News Bears. Reggie Moonshroud is a geeky red-haired version of a werewolf. Reggie was voiced by Barry Gordon. Barry was also the voice of Donatello in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchises. Rounding out the cast was Sid the Invisible Kid and J.P. Ghastly. Rick Moranis played Max Schneider. The cartoon drawing of Mr. Schneider is modeled after Rick Moranis. You might remember that he drove around in a little yellow Volkswagen. The series featured all the tropes that one would expect from a horror-themed cartoon. They had a large, hearse-like gothic school bus, spiderweb accents, and even coffins as lockers. McDonald's released 4 toys for their Happy Meal, including Sid, Vinny, Cleo, and Frankentyke. There was also a promotion at Toys R Us where you could bring in a code and get a Gravedale High Frisbee. Alright, now let's talk about a few reasons why this show may have been canceled. So some people said that this show was mediocre and it relied too much on predictable monster stereotypes. It had low ratings and it failed to connect with an audience. Critics also said that it wasn't very funny. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I have rewatched all 13 episodes and I think it's kind of really entertaining. I think part of the problem is that NBC just didn't give this show long enough to find its audience. I also think that Hanna-Barbera was pushing out so many cartoons during this time that it was hard for one to find its footing. Hanna-Barbera produced 5 new cartoons in the 1990 season. That's a lot of noise to compete with. So for whatever reason, we only got 1 season of Gravedale High. So did Gravedale High walk so that Monster High could run? And was Vinny Stoker an inspiration for Edward Cullen? We may never know the answers to these questions, but Gravedale High will live in our hearts as one of our favorite short-lived cartoons of the 90s. Alright, let me know if you watched Gravedale High. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!